with the Pac-12. Yeah, great get. Helps fill out the conference. Basketball only member. Will give them increased basketball credibility. Obviously, with San Diego State and Gonzaga, you've got a couple of teams that have played in the national championship game the last few years. Gonzaga's been in the tournament, 14 straight years or something like that. We know about San Diego State, so that was great. The issue is on the football side, and they've now paused their negotiations for an 8th team. That, to me, sends up all kinds of red flags that you can't lure a team to a conference that, is bragging about all these resources it has. And Pac-12 Enterprises has a war chest of cash that can help pay exit fees to any team. I know they lowballed Memphis and probably Tulane with between an offer of $2.5 and $5 million to leave. I think in the American it cost $25 million to leave. So even though it would probably be a step up for those schools, it's not worth it to take that big of a haircut.
Dennis, now with Gonzaga in the mix, do you think like maybe the Memphis and Tulane, they go back to that well, or where do they go next after the addition of Gonzaga?
I've heard that, but look, this thing may last the rest of the year. Our reporting today from Brandon Marcello said it may be paused for a period of a few weeks till the end of the year, for the next 3 months. So, that really sends up, again, red flags. So they can't attract teams that they're putting out a number out there that just isn't reasonable. And the number I heard from the Big 12 that the Pac-12 is putting out there is 10 to 15 million per school. There's no way that assembly of schools is worth 10 to 15 million. And I think that's why you saw a school like UNLV stay in the Mountain West, a school like Air Force stay in the Mountain West. I think they've overvalued themselves. And if that's true, guys, what does that sound like? That sounds suspiciously like the old Pac-12, because that's what got them, that's what crushed that league. And I'm not saying this is going to happen here by any means, but there's something about the culture there that just, they're overvaluing their product.
Dennis Dodd, CBS Sports, with us right now, John and Jim, San Diego Sports 760. So, okay, from that media rights perspective, and I don't know what the Mountain West is getting currently. Maybe you do, Dennis. Was it $5-6 million per school?
Yeah,
is that
that's about
reasonable?
Right, yeah.
And let's say the American, you tell me what, $8-9 million per school?
Yeah, that's about as currently configured. Not
as currently configured.
Yeah.
So what do you think? What would you think is reasonable? I mean, when you hear American at 8-9 and Mountain West at 5-6, you take away, quote unquote, the bottom of the Mountain West, and then you added the top of it with Oregon State and Washington State. What do you think is a reasonable figure?
Well, something significantly below that. Again, there's value to that Pac-12 brand, and there's value to that technology sitting in a warehouse in San Ramon, California, as they keep talking about from the old Pac-12 network. And there's value to that war chest of $250 million or whatever it is. But those are finite numbers. That money's going to run out at some point. If you spend it all on exit fees, or a lot of it on exit fees, that's a problem. I'm not a media consultant.
Sure.
But they've got to find one who knows that price. And I'm not reporting this, but I think they may be out there looking for a new one who can take these 8 teams to market and say, what's a fair price for these, to the point that they don't have an 8th team, an 8th team in football, an 8th overall member. So how do you even go to market with, not a full lineup? Both of them were getting there, talking about the Mountain West and Pac-12, but that continues to baffle me. I guess you're just saying, well, what if Texas State? What if Tulane? What if Memphis? So I think that's the issue right now. You don't have a conference to market, and what teams you do have are being overvalued.
And when you look at the basketball side of this, Dennis, would you consider now with the addition of Gonzaga, like, okay, this is one of the better basketball conferences in college basketball?
Yeah, no question. I think it was on our site, because I briefly glanced at it today because I've been working on football.
Yeah.
But I think with the addition of Gonzaga, that vaults the Pac-12 up to like the number 4 conference. So it's back to being a power conference if it's in the top 4. Obviously, the ACC, Big 10, and Big 12 probably round out the top 3. And without them, I think it falls down significantly down below that. I can't remember the graphic I saw. But there's no question that the Pac-12 with Gonzaga and basketball is going to be one of the top 4 conferences in the country, and really, really exciting to watch.
And with that being said, Dennis, I know football drives the revenue and it drives the conference realignment talk and makes things happen. But with this being potentially a better basketball conference than football, when they do go to market and when they do try to sell this media deal, do you think they could potentially push basketball first for that, or how do you think that could work?
Yeah, I don't think basketball's first. I still think football drives the bus because look at Alabama, Georgia, 14 million viewers at one point. I think that was the high on Saturday. You're not going to get that, even anything close to that, for any regular season basketball game. So that just shows you the worth of football. And the math is typically in a media rights deal, 80 to 85% is football, and then about 15 to 20% is basketball. I suspect in the Pac-12 that number in basketball will be a higher percentage. But if football's still carrying the weight, you still got to make money. I mean, you still got to have enough in there to pay the bill. And maybe that, look, with the units they're going to get some success in the tournament, maybe that makes up for it. Maybe they have weighted shares. I was told in the beginning by some Colorado State folks, right when they made the move, those 4 schools made the move, that at least the football revenue is going to be split evenly. It looks like that's not the case right now. It looks like it's going to be weighted based on success or based on media value. Boise State had something like that in the Mountain, where I think they were making $7+ million a year because they were the flagship of that league. And maybe the flagship of this league. It remains to be seen. So, no, I still think football carries the day.
Dennis, final one for me is do you have any good feel for how the college football playoff will play out for 2026 and beyond in terms of number of teams and access for programs really in the Power 4? Because it sounds like if the SEC and or Big 10 get their way, it even could limit some access for leagues like the Big 12 and the ACC.
Yeah, I do. I'll just give you our research. I think we figured this out last year. One of my editors or I worked on this. We went back and plugged in the previous 10 years of the playoff. Okay, with 12 teams in it, in the current configuration of the conferences, 18 in the Big 10, 16 in the SEC, and so forth. The average season out of 12, 7.73, or basically 8 teams from those 2 leagues at the top in any given year. There were a couple of years where there would have been 9.
Wow.
So I think that's what you're going to see. And if that's the case, if there's an average of 8, look at the math, guys. That means there's going to be 4 spots for the other 100 teams in FCS. And with these meetings next week in Nashville between the SEC and Big 10, I think you're going to try to see them consolidate that power. There's already rumblings about getting a strength of schedule component that's public for the selection committee, and they're talking about a scheduling agreement, which would just put better games on and improve their schedule strength. And I think something to watch. I'm going to make a note on it this week. I looked it up. Schedule strength through week 5. The Big 10 and SEC now, before any of this happens, now have 6 of the top 13 teams in schedule strength with half a season to go. I think it's going to be very interesting.
No doubt about it. Dennis, always appreciate your insight and your reporting. It's always fascinating, as you know, with college athletics. So thanks for hopping on in San Diego, and hopefully we can do it again at some point soon.
Yeah, I'd love to. Thanks, guys.
All right, great stuff from Dennis Dodd at CBS Sports. We're going to hear from